So in this video, we're going to have a look at Dall-e, which is also made by OpenAI, just like in the previous video when we used ChatGPT to come up with some interesting scenarios. We gave it some prompts, and it gave us some little scenes that we could then use as hooks for one-shots or even larger adventures. But now we're going to have a look at how we could perhaps illustrate those using AI. And so I've already created a few different explorations for how we could do that. And before I do that, let me just explain what this is. So if you go to openai.com, you'll see an option for Dall-e. This is Dall-e 2, and you can create an account, and they'll give you some free credits where you can create some of your own AI images. I'm not going to go into how this is done. You can do a YouTube search and find out about the actual engineering that goes into this. But let me just show you some of the results. So here we've got some of the explorations that I've been doing, and I started with a tavern scene. And if you don't specify the style of what you're going to be looking at, you may get something that's fairly abstract. And in this particular case, the characters don't really resemble the kind of Dungeons and Dragons universe that you're used to seeing for what dwarves, elves look like. If you give it a slightly more specific description here, I've got the description as being a high quality color drawing of the inside of a medieval dimly lit tavern, and with a mysterious elf. So here I didn't really specify the genre, so it picked its own genre. But in this case, I've got a high-quality line drawing of a stocky and muscular dwarf from Middle-earth. And here, it gave me a pretty nice drawing, which I could use. I prefer to use drawings and illustrations in my games that are a bit more abstract and leave a bit more to the imagination to come up with. And of course, with Dall-e, if you specify a particular genre or style, it'll kind of move in that direction. And here we've got another great example of the dwarf that is cleanly shaven from our previous example. I think that looks like it might be a beard that's turned into a scarf. I'm not sure, but we've got some explorations with dragons here. I didn't really specify a style, so it didn't really. I wouldn't say this was particularly successful. And here I tried to do a high quality photo of a large sleeping green-winged dragon, and the results were pretty interesting. They kind of look like the old Harryhausen style stop motion dragons, which I don't really want to use those. They're a little bit too detailed. And so I thought, well, what if I ask it to mimic a particular style? So I thought of using this particular painter, Johannes Vermeer, and the results were really pretty amazing. Especially in this case. So the elf with a wounded leg in this particular style is quite remarkable. And I mean, doing a whole one-shot campaign in this particular art style might be kind of cool in and of itself. And so I did a little bit more exploration in this, and got some really fascinating results here. But again, this might be a little bit too detailed for what I prefer, just my own preference. And here, I took it to be inside the medieval tavern. And these examples came out pretty interestingly. The faces are abstract enough to where I could fill it in with some great theater of the mind. And these definitely come out pretty interestingly. I think you could work with these. Then I thought, well, what if I use an actual, like 3D rendering? And I thought, what if I could do it from the top down, so I could use them as tokens, perhaps? So this was an experiment with doing a top-down view of a goblin in a 3D rendering style. And then I thought, well, what if I did it using Larry Elmore's style? And these are just incredible. So these are top-down views of goblins with a white background done in this particular style. And these may be used as, maybe you could use them as tokens. And they look really cool. This was of a dwarf using the same prompt as before. And I kind of did some more explorations with the elf and with different artists. And it seems like it doesn't recognize some, and it'll default to like what it thinks you want, in which case it'll definitely miss the mark if it doesn't really recognize that particular artist in its training data. But in some cases, you'll definitely hit on something where the results can be really interesting and quite painterly, and you can kind of use it as a abstract kind of tableau for your games, and then fill in the details with kind of theater of the mind explanations of what the players are seeing. And in this particular case, I think it would work quite well. And here are some more tavern scenes, empty tavern scenes. And some more tavern scenes here, done in kind of a medieval painterly style. And I think the best results, let's see, also have some interesting shots of trees that did pretty well. Again, it's going to take some experimentation to find that exact kind of sweet spot of where Dall-e kind of understands what you're trying to get at within the style that suits what you're looking for. In this particular example, it really gave me some nice illustrations of dragons that I could use in that one shot that we came up with previously. And I'm quite fond of this particular illustration style too. It could be that you can create all the illustrations in your one shot using this particular style and come up with scenes that match these depictions, and then go back into ChatGPT and gain inspiration from your Dall-e illustrations to come up with prompts for ChatGPT to fill them out, and then build the scenario in Foundry based on these generations. And here are some dragon illustrations that came out really well too. Another thing you could do in this is if you find something that is particularly good, you could do a variation on this, which is what I did here. So I took this picture and I then did a variation. And so this here, it says original. So this was the original that I took from the last generation. And then I created additional generations based on this one. And these came out great. So they have just the right amount of abstraction where I can definitely fill in the details and allow the players to kind of use their imagination to come up with, what these creatures actually look like. and then you know, create a tableau from there. So this is a summary of how we could use Dall-e to flesh out some of the illustrations for the adventure that we kind of started in ChatGPT. And next, we'll be having a look at how we can start to take all these things and put them into Foundry to create a quick one-shot. Thanks very much, and see you guys on the next video.